actually done understanding our users, then we now moved into creating ideas to solve this problem, the problem for our users. So, so for today, we are going to move into the next process of wireframing. That's um we've we've successfully created some ideas from our ideation phase, and after we've done creating these ideas from the various metrics that I mentioned in our last class, and the metrics could be either a feasibility study that's checking if this idea is actually feasible. And by being feasible, you can check with your time constraints or budgets or the resources that you have available. And by resources, I mean the developers you have or your other team members as well. So it can help you to filter these ideas based on the constraints that you have. And then another way of also filtering your ideas is by doing a competitor analysis. That's checking what your competition is pretty much doing. And then you will know how to create an innovation from what your competitors are doing. So let's just say that we have gotten our ideas and then we filter it into a particular idea. And then our focus for right now is that we want to help either restaurant owners that when they want to order for food items or foodstuffs or whatever stock that they need for their shop, that they're going to order based on demand, and they will not end up wasting any foodstuffs or any food items or perishable items that they've ordered. So our focus right now is just to see how we can better help these restaurant owners to make sure that their what they are buying is actually what they need and not from out of impulse. So from our how my two questions, we had farmers and restaurant owners need a way to predict demand better because they often end up making or going more than they can sell. So this is the problem they are trying to solve. And then we have an idea that we want to show farmers and restaurants how much to order based on sales to cut down waste. So following this idea, this is just trying to help either restaurants or farmers to know what to order and order rightly. So for us to be able to create a design or a mobile app for this particular idea, we have to also continue the process. And from this process, there are various dimensions that you can go. Some people can go through the part of creating a user journey map or a flow chart or a information architecture. So whatever part that you want to take, you're just trying to define the flow of the user. And by flow of the user, you're trying to make sure that, okay, as from the point when the user logs into the app, they have a good experience to actually achieve that task that they want to achieve, or you're actually going to help them to solve that problem that you actually wanted to solve for them. So for this our particular idea, we want to, create a very seamless ordering process for restaurants, and want to make that process such that it is based on sales and it is based on the trends around them, and then they get to order exactly what they need. So we will need to create a flow chart from this idea. So how do you want the user to be able to perform this? Like, how do you want to solve this particular problem with your app? And you could actually use a user journey. So user journey is from the time when they open the app and then they click on this and they click on this and they click on this. Then it helps them to achieve this goal in the app. So I created a flow chart. So like I said, there are various ways you can use to define your flow. That's the user journey flow. But for the case of this class, we are just going to discuss one, which is the user flow. And user flow, just like some of us might have been conversant with it during our secondary schools, where you have this box like start an activity, and then you make a decision with the diamond shape, and then it asks if it's a yes or no question. Then if it's yes, it takes you to this flow. If it's no, it takes you to this other flow. So like that. So we can decide to create our own from scratch, or I can just explain what I have already done here. So on this flow chart, we have the very start, that is open app. So when the open app, you know, once you open your app, like any mobile app, there are various things you can do. Like the way you have your WhatsApp, for example. Once you open your WhatsApp, you can decide to say, I want to make a call. And then you click on the calls um, bottom nav. You click on the call section, or you say, I want to chat with somebody, and then you click on the chat. Or I want to set up something on my WhatsApp, and then you click on settings. So just like that, there are also different categories of things that you might be able to do with this app. But you want to just focus on just one particular flow, on them ordering products or goods or food items. So it could be either be titled with orders, or it could be titled with get new stuff, or like any title you that might be deemed fit for the particular app. So when they click on other new products, so that's the essence of this decision diamond shape we have here. So it's a decision kind of thing, and then you are going that they're going to decide if they want to order new products or not. So you can see just beside it we have the alarms. So this could be, this is like targeting new type, like two different types of users. And by two different types of users, I mean people who actually came to the app to order new products. So I'm going to give a scenario of the way we have our Instagram, for example. There are times where you just go to Instagram by yourself to actually check out somebody's post. And for us that have like a push notification on our Instagram, so there are also times where Instagram sends you a push notification, and then you are now triggered to click on that notification to go to the app to still check that same post. So you see the same process that we are also trying to use here. So remember that we also spoke about trying to do the opposite, trying to solve the problem of, we're not just helping them to order food based on demand. We are also helping them to order before they run out of stock. And one way to do that is by setting alarms, so that when you've predicted that, okay, in the next month, we are going to have more orders of yam or beans, for example. and then you've checked their stock and you've seen that, okay, this stock is not going to be sufficient for this next month. So you could send like an alarm, like a predictive alarm to restaurant owners, and telling them that you need to stock up for this next month. So you're also trying to solve the problem of them, of under demand, of under ordering, like for them not to run out of stock, as also solving the problem of them not to buy more than they need. So this alarm is just, okay, hello, you're in the third week of the month, you need to stock up the store ingredients before you run out of stock. So however they come into the app, either with by themselves where they actually want to order the new stuff, or they get an alarm or a push notification for them to order something. And then once they click on it, it takes them to the ordering process. So on this ordering process, we know like our goal is to make them to order rightly. And then there are various things we want to show them for them to make a predeformed information, like the way we have, if you are using people that use their Google Map, for example, to move from maybe from their home to their office, or from a particular place to another place. Google Map will always tell you there is an alternative route with a shorter route, with a shorter time, or this route is going to take longer because of traffic. So they always give you an alternative information so that you can make a predeformed decision if you want to take this route A, or you want to change to a new route that will be much easier. So on this ordering process, we want to give them as much information as possible so that they can, whenever they are ordering, when they now want to order, they can be very much informed on what they actually need, and then order based on their demands and not based on their personal predictions. So there are ways you can help them to be more informed. And the very first way is by showing them the sales history. So there's always a track record to everything. And then even though you have, for example, you can go to the area and then you can see like 5 restaurants. And it's always very common for 1 or 2 restaurants to sell more than the other ones. So even if for that month there's a probability that there will be greater requests for yam, for example, it won't stop the fact that those 2 restaurants that sell the most are always going to get the higher sale than the other 3 restaurants. So despite the fact that you want to, there's going to be an increase in sales, it still goes down with your track record of the amount of sales that you've done in your past. So it's always very, it's always is a add-on to show them their sales history. Okay, for this particular month, by this particular month last year, you made these sales, or for the past 6 months, you made these sales. So you can see order based on your history. And also another way to help them make a predeformed decision is by showing nearby restaurant sales. So this is also like an example. Like I said, when you are watching Netflix and then you are always seeing the category of very popular, or you are saying the top 10 movies in Nigeria, or the top 10 most watched movies, or even if you go to your Jumia app, for example, you always, like, maybe if you search for shoes, and then below the shoes you will say other people who looked at this also bought. So they are also using a trend to kind of help you to buy a particular stuff based on either what you need or what other people are doing. So by also showing the restaurant owners that, okay, these are what your nearby restaurants are doing, it could even help not just in their buying in their buying behavior, not just helping them to be able to buy better. It could even help them based on their business decisions to see what even their nearby competitors are doing, and then make a more predeformed decision on their business. So you can see that while you're also trying to solve a problem, you're also kind of touching a little bit of other problems that might have existed that you don't even know existed. So by allowing them to see sales around them, it's also a way of making them to make a decision in a very predeformed manner. And then you can see demand forecast. So this forecast is trying to look into the future. So you've seen your sales, like, and the forecast is just based on data, and it's mainly about AI. So you've gotten the history of this particular restaurant, you've gotten the amount of things that they've sold in the past, and then you also have the data of the nearby um the nearby restaurants that you have that are around you. So, and then you can now try to show them, okay, based on this data that we've accumulated over the past, this is going to be a what you're going to expect for this month. This is the kind of sales that you're most likely going to make within your next 2 months or within the next 3 months. You probably sell more of yam than more of beans. So that is like a predictive information. And this predictive information is not always like 100% right, even though AI is a very useful tool right now, but it still boils down to the volume of data that you provide to it. So you provide enough data to it, you'll be able to make a better forecast. So showing them these three things is already giving them as much information as possible, and then they can now make a better decision in what they want to order and in what they'll order more than the rest. So it now moves to, okay, they can now adjust their orders and complete orders. So this is a very simple, and it's not even so in-depth. It's not so much in-depth. I just created a very simple and high-level flowchart so that you can get an idea of um how a flowchart will work. So before you move into your Figma, there have been a process, and then from this process we spoke about the research, and then we went to empathize, and then we went to ideation, and then we are now prototyping. So for this prototyping, you don't just want to just go to your Figma board and start drawing rectangles and circles. You always have to have a direction. From a direction, you can either use your flowchart or your journey map or your information architecture. So for IA, I use an example of, okay, let's try to create. I don't think I'll have to, okay. Let's use an example of our WhatsApp, for example, and then so you can see, like, when we are using our WhatsApp, and then we open the WhatsApp app, and the first things you see are, you have like about 5 navigation bars at the bottom of your WhatsApp screen. So you have the updates, the calls, the community, the chats, and the settings. So let's say that um so let's say we want to move from one step to another, like the way we have the settings. So let's say we want to create an information architecture with on your WhatsApp. On your WhatsApp, for example. So I'm using WhatsApp as an example because you might not be able to, since we are very conversant with WhatsApp, so we can better understand what an information architecture is. So it's just simply how you want to arrange your information, like how you want to how you want the users to be able to move from one flow to another. Or instead of WhatsApp, let's see if you could even go to a website here. What website can I go to? Um, let's use Global. Let's use Global websites so that let's create a very simple information architecture with this Global. So you have on this homepage now, you have different categories. You have your food, you have your package, pharmacy, groceries. So these are the highest level of your, so like on your homepage, the first thing you are seeing is the food. So the next thing you also see is package. Let us call it package or package delivery. Um, I think there are about 5. Pharmacy and beauty, then groceries. Then global bargains. So using this particular hierarchy, so you can see that this is like your first level of information that you're feeding to the users. So you want to, like most time when you're designing an application, you can't show every single thing to the user in one page. So say for example on this Google app now, they start showing you information about food, about package, about pharmacy, about groceries, about global, all on the same page at once. It's going to get really very confusing. So the best way to do it is by creating a hierarchy. And then by this hierarchy, you're trying to group the information that you want to feed to the users. So the same way we have kind of grouped our app with ordering. So you can see on this flow, we focus on just order products. So that is like we are grouping every information in one category. So that's the same way they also grouped their own. And then you can see food, package, pharmacy, groceries, and global bargains. And this grouping is most likely seen in our daily apps, like the way we have our WhatsApp. The grouping there is updates, calls, communities, chats, and settings. So those are the high level grouping. So let us even try to check like a very a a like our normal everyday app. So let's see if we can check any application that, so you can see on our on this landing page, for example, So you can see on this first level, we have the enterprise, SME, personal, resources, developers, companies, signing, and then this is now the home page. So this is like the first level of hierarchy. And inside this, each of these categories, you can now go down into the next category. Like on this particular enterprise, you have your payment solutions, go your business. So this is like the second level of hierarchy under this enterprise. Then under the payment solutions, you now have different types of information. So that is what information architecture just basically mean. You are trying to create a progress based on the information from the highest level down to the particular information you want to show the user. So the same also goes to, we have our Jumia, for example, like the way we have these different categories. Here we have our appliances, phones and tablets, health and beauty, home and office, electronics, and the rest of it. So this is like the highest level of grouping that we've done. So under each of these, like the way we have these appliances, under it we have the small appliances and the large appliances. And under the small appliances, we now have the blenders. So on your IA flow, when you want to create your flow based on the information, you start from the home page, you go down to appliances, you go down to small appliances, and then you end in blenders. So the same way that we're also trying to create for food, when you click on your food, it's not showing the restaurant. So this is like different restaurants that you can see. So you can see on your food, you have the promotion, you have the all stores. So these are the two categories you have. So you can either click on any of these and say you want to click on this one. I don't want to make you guys hungry. And then you are now seeing the next level of information. So when the user log into the global app, you will not see this page first of all on this landing page. There is always a hierarchy of information that you want to feed to the users. So the first things that you want to feed them with, you put it on the first level of your flow, and then it now boils down to, okay, what is the next thing you want to feed them with? On this food, we now have the restaurants, for example. So they can now choose restaurants, and on these restaurants, they can also they can also see the, I think I saw promotions. Yeah, they can also see promotions. So these promotions is just like also the trends that we have. So on this side, so you can draw like a line to it will link from this one to this one. So these are like your two categories at the moment. Then under your restaurant, it now takes you into different food that we have. I think this Flutter will also explain it, or you can also use Jumia. So on this our Jumia, the very first thing we get to see is our different is our different categories. So let's say this first one is your appliances. And then on your second one is the phones and tablets. So We also have the other levels on the other categories on these same levels, but we might not be able to go through all of them. So let us try to see how to now go down on these appliances. So on these appliances, we now have two categories of our appliances. So the first one we have is small, small and large. So on this small one, it now boils down to, on this small one, we now boil down to blenders, deep fryers, drawers, and juicers, and the rest of it. So this is like a very simple hierarchy that we've created based on the information that we want to share to the users. So on this, there could be so many, like the way we have it here, blenders, deep fryers, juicer, and everything. So this is also a way of creating like a flow of how you want your users to interact with your app. So it is either you're creating, you can also create everything. So you just try to define, like the way we have a blueprint, like anytime you want to build a house, and then there's always a blueprint, like the paper drawing of trying to actually craft out what you want to build, like the style of the house you want to build. So that's also the same way we are also trying to kind of flesh out what we actually want to build. Because when you are trying to design for in a new application, you might be very confused on where to start. You don't even know whether to even start with your ordering side or you want to start with the demanding side. So this kind of process is going to help you to better now know how you can now start designing your application. So when you are done actually now getting the flow or the kind of information you want to present to your users, and then you kind of say, okay, define how this flow is going to be, then you can now go into your wireframing section. So for this wireframing, there are two types you can do your wireframing. So you can either wireframe using paper, like plain paper, actually paper wireframe, and you can also use digital wireframe. So for paper wireframe, is using just your pencil and paper. So you draw on your white paper. And by drawing, it doesn't actually mean for you to be an artist or for you to be an expert in drawing. It's just for you to actually catch what you are trying to do. Some people even use whiteboard, whatever you want to do. So the aim of using your paper is for you to be able to bring your ideas into visuals pretty much. And most times paper just help us to do that faster. Most times when we want to say jot, like we attend a conference, for example, and I want to jot what the speaker is saying. Sometimes people just like using their notepad to jot what they've learned from the speaker. But oftentimes the use of pen and book cannot be overemphasized. Most times you just see yourself writing faster and better with using pen and paper. So that's the same idea of also doing a paper wireframe. It's just for you to be able to think, to be able to draw while you're thinking as fast as possible. You don't have to start worrying about the how to use your Figma, or where to click on this your prototype to actually start prototyping or start drawing. So you can see prototype even using this our using this Figma. That's a Fig Jam. So the on this Figma board we have to, so you can see design file and Figma Fig Jam board. And this Figma Jam is this Fig Jam board is pretty much for anything brainstorming, whether you are brainstorming alone or you are brainstorming with your team. So you can still also prototype here, and you can do everything that we've spoken about, your empathy map, the um the persona, and then you can also come here to prototype. So it's not only just using paper. You can also use your um your system to also prototype. So on this template, I think we have some. So let's see how this flowchart template is. I wanted to check for. I wanted to check for. So you can see on this side, you can see how it's flowing. And this one is for a restaurant's greater responsibility. So you can see how it's flowing, how it flows for a particular one, and then on the decision part, it asks for yes or no, and then it takes them to process, takes them to another process, and then the end. So the same thing with this one too. You can see how it's flowing from this very start to when they go to the next flow, and then it moves to all the way to when they even exit the website. So that's the essence of creating a flow chart. So try to define the user's parts all through your application, and it cannot just be only one part. It could be as many as possible. So I was talking about the drawing prototype. So let's even see if we won't have a prototype template here. So you can see the particular. So a prototype is just pretty much to so let's go through the basic industry standard on how to prototype, or how to represent different elements your on your prototype. So the way we have, so that different elements you can represent, the way we have call to actions, that CTAs, and by CTAs we mean buttons. Then on your another element you also have is your text. Another one you also have is your image. Another one you also have is your illustrations, can still be image, whatever it is, whether illustrations or videos or whatever it is still under the same visuals. So if you want to represent these different elements, there are different standards you need to actually use to represent this. So if you want to represent a text, for example, the usual standard is for you to just draw a line. So this kind of signifies that um this at this section of the page there's going to be a text here. So it could be a very short line or a small line, whatever it is. Then when it comes to image, so you could either use, if it's either a square or a circle, like for circles it could be maybe like your profile, your profile picture, for example. So that's also an image. So if you want to represent where a placeholder for your image, when you draw your circle, you have to make a cross line inside that diagram, either your circle or your square, to show that this particular section of this page is going to be, there's going to be a diagram in it. What about the colors? So if it's actually a rectangle, so on this section of this rectangle, you want to put an image there. So for you to show that this is an image, you also have to put a cross to show that at this section of this page, there is going to be an image on this side. So this is literally for text. Then when you have your placeholder, you could still use this same you will still use this same format for your placeholder, or you could actually just write, if it's for sign up, for example, you just write you just write your sign up or your login on this place. And then as easy as this, you can use this whole um representation to show how your wireframes will be like. So let's say, for example, you want to wireframe a login screen, and then we all know how normal login screen is. So let's say at the top of this place, you want to put our logo inside it. So you just put either a circle or a square to show that at this section of the page there's going to be a logo in it. So you can now come down to below it. You now want to create your sign-in page. So if you don't know what the text will be, you can just place a line here to show at this point, this is what there's going to be a line here, and then you are going to have your inputs tags, and then you can see you can just replicate it, and below it you can now put your final sign up button to show that this is a login screen. Or if you also want to replicate this text, this line with the actual word, you can also do it. So in a very simple wireframe, you can still use text in some areas in your wireframe. That is the places that where you've known that this is what this is going to read, or this is what you want to write in this section. But in places where you are still doubting on what you're actually going to write, you could just use your text to replicate that on this part of this page there's going to be a text on that part. So let's try to replicate our daily app. So I don't even know where I am, so I'm just using this global back to back. So this is our global app, for example. So let's try to, like, how will I put it? You know, there is a forward approach and there's a backward approach. So this is like the final design, but let's try to go back to how it actually started. So before this page came into life, there was a wireframe. So let's try to create a wireframe from this particular UI. That's the high fidelity the high fidelity design that we already seen here. So let's try to make a wireframe from this. So on this section of the page, you might have to leave that out. Then the very first one, you can see a text. But let's say when we are trying to wireframe this this particular screen, we don't actually know what this text will read. Why did I even show the French version? We don't even know what this text will read. So instead of spending time thinking about what we want to put at this point, we can just use a line to show that at this end we are going to have a text. So we want to also show that on this section of the page, we want to allow users to be able to search whatever they want to see, and then you put your input field, and by input field you can just put a rectangle, and you can also use your icon, like you're also trying to tell people that this is going to be a search screen. So there are some times where you actually want to use a real element, or you just want to use something that you are not yet sure, but you know that this is going to be this. So, but at this point of our wireframing, we are entirely sure that we want to make the very first thing that the user will see for them to be able to search for any items. So we want to bring in that. Where is it? Okay. We want to bring in that icon, so that when we are now doing the final this thing, why did they bring it image? It will now show to, like, we will now style it to a very better way. So on this input tag, you don't even have to style it the same way they did. They're just trying to show that this is going to be our search bar. So we've done for this section of the page. Now we are trying to represent this section, and on this part we have different illustrations. So like I said, it could be for you to represent an image, either it is an illustration or a video or whatever it is, you can always use your pause to represent that this will be an image. So on this part also, you can see that we have about 4 sections here. So we just space them out to kind of show that this is our different illustrations that we have here. So like under the illustrations, let's try to make this more organized. So you see why some people will always advise you, if you want to start, you start with paper, because when you are doing on the digital, you can now get confused with, you cannot get distracted in various things as against the purpose in why you are even doing the wireframe in the first place. The wireframe, that you're not trying to focus on how it looks or how beautiful it is. Your focus is the flow of what you are trying to create, so that your users is not going to get confused at the end of the day. So at just below the illustrations, we have our texts. So we are going to use the line to represent that on this part, we are going to have a text. And the same way is going to happen on the second side. So we've done for this first part of the page. So on this side, you can see there's another text also. And then you use your line to signify that on this section, there will be a text. Then on the bigger side, you can see that this is now much a bigger picture. So you now want to make the image notation area to be much bigger. And then this is showing that, okay, on this side, there's going to be a picture. Then below it, there's also going to be a text, or we can have it 2 lines of text. So like at this point, you don't even know what you want to put there or what exactly you want to write there, but you just know that you want your this thing, so you want the design to be able to look like this. So that's the essence of creating a wireframe. So when we've done this one, we can now duplicate to create the second one. So you can see how it is showing, how we've also done on this second section of our screen. So we've done for this other part, and then just below it is an image that we cannot see. We are going to leave that aside. So on the bottom side, we now have the navigation bar. And the same way I mentioned, if you want to show our illustrations, you can use either circle or cross or rectangle, but you always have to show that this is an image. So just below it, you put your image. So if at this point you already know the category, that's your first level of information you want to show, so you can just put in the actual word at this point. But if you don't know, it's okay for you to just use line for the time being until you figure out the actual naming of the category that you want to use. So you can see how we've created a very simple wireframe from what we already have here by using the different notations, like the way we have when you want to use our squares and rectangles. So you can see how it's very plain, and you're not even focusing on how fine it is. It's just on the user flow. So when you are done with how you want to arrange your app, you can now move into the next level of trying to actually fix in different boards. So when you are presenting your wireframe to your team members, for example, they can better understand what is going on here. Because if you show this to a non-designer, they might be confused on I'm just saying boxes and lines everywhere. But the way you now take this into a step further by actually putting in different words at different points in your wireframes, it makes it more understandable for people to actually get what they are saying. So on this part, so I was trying to see a template of wireframes that we have here. So you can see it's showing a sign-in page. So you can see here they actually use words to signify that this is what it is. And I'm sure the reason why they use blue is because it's already defined that there's already a branding on this product. So say for example you are designing for an existing for an for an existing company, they already have their own brand color, just one brand color. I can see all through this application, it was just only one brand color that they use. That means for this wireframe, this particular company or like already have an existing brand color. So you can just use it for your wireframes. But in situations where it's a new application and you're still trying to figure out the color that you want to use as your brand color, you can just use a black and white for that, first of all. So you can see on this part, it's showing this is like an image placeholder. So if you have, like if you are using a template, for example, if you are using this particular Figma, you can just input your image template, and then you can use it to denote that this is an image placeholder instead of using the course. But if you are doing it manually and you still use the course, people will also understand that this is where your image is going to also be. But this is a very simple wireframing also. So you can see it's even also showing the flow. When you sign in, you get to this is your home, and then you can get to your profile, or your profile you can get to your messaging you can get to your search. So you can see how the flow has also helped you to create a a wireframe for for any app that you're trying to build. So from this app that we've done for, if we talk about, for example, and then we have the different flows, and then we have a flow the ordering app, for the ordering of products. So you can see that on this open app, okay, this open app is just it's actually supposed to be represented with a circle, because a circle is always what you use to show the start of a flow, like either if you are starting or if you are ending. So it always starts with a circle, and then when they open the, let's just duplicate this. When they open the app, they can now go into um the different aspects of the flow. So let's say, for example, you want to wireframe, you might not be able to. Let's say that you want to, okay, from your fig jam, you can bring in whatever you want to bring in. You can just copy and you paste on your board. This is too big. I will reduce it. Oh, it's not truncating the words. Let's leave it to the big thing. So let's say you've created your flow, for example, and then you now want to kind of create your wireframes on this flow that we've done. So from the very first one, they enter into the app and they can see your home page, first of all. And on this home page, they can now decide if they want to order new products or do other stuff. So on this your app, it might not be an app for just ordering. You can also do like other things, maybe like also input your sales. Like you can also be like an an inventory type of app where you can come on a daily basis to input your daily sales, or you can just go there to watch videos. So it could be it could be anything that they will see on this homepage. But for the next level where they now want to order new products, they click on the order button and then it takes them to this flow. So they get to see the sales history, see nearby restaurants, and see demand forecast. So let's say we are trying to create a simple prototype on this sales history. For example, um, let's try to create our frames to fit what. So let's say you want to create how this sales prototype is going to be. So on this sales history, like that means they have to see their previous sales. So you can just, from this first place, you put your main title of this page, and then you now want to show it into different categories. You don't want to bombard them into seeing everything at the same time. So you want them to be able to see their history based on months, for example. But before the months, you want them to be able to search. So if they want to search for a particular history they are looking for, say they want to search by a food. So here, like we are pretty much sure of what we want to do. So we use texts to denote some areas, like I said. So say for example, you want to allow them to be able to search by different food. So you will put it here. I want to search. I want them to be able to search by food, or by months, or by whatever. So let's say you want to categorize it by just food and months. And you want it also beside them, and beside the search bar, you want them to also have a filter button here. So you can still put filter because you are very sure of what you want this very first section, this very first part to look like. But in cases where you are not sure, you can use texts to denote it, like I've said. Let's try to reduce it. This height is, so we've kind of displayed how this up part, how the very first thing is going to be. So let's say now below it, we don't want to show them all the sales history at once, so that it's not going to bombard them. We want to show them based on different months. So you can have here, the very first thing that they will have is January. Like before they actually start searching on the particular sales history that they want to have, you want to show them something first before they actually start searching. So on this first place, you want to now categorize it based on the month. So you want to say for this month, this is what's your, this is the sales history. And you can still show the sales history based on different aspects. You can still show it even with your diagrams. Like we have the pie chart, or you have the flow charts. Like you guys know how pie chart is. Like you have chart like this and stuff like that. But if you want to leave this place so blank that it's possible that when you are now finally designing, you don't want to use a flowchart again. You now want to use a pie chart. You can just use this and say this is going to be an image. So you can just use the image placeholder like the way we have here, I think on this screen, or you can use the course. You can use the course section format. So yeah, so doing this is going to show that okay, I want my sales history to be categorized into different months, and then you can now try to duplicate based on this black is too um harsh. So you can now try to replicate it February. So you can see just with this very simple screen, you have been able to create a very simple wireframe for how your search history, page is going to be like. And it's also very important to know that you might not end up your final product or your final design might not be exactly how you actually design this wireframe. This is just like giving you an idea. So you can be finally design and then you just say, okay, let us add this. Instead of putting like this, let's try to make it like this instead. Let's try to make it to be half the page instead of making it to be, it's like here is going to consume more page, more landscape. But if you divide it into two and then make it to be like this instead, we can cover more months at first glance than when is taking the entire width of the page. So there could be different iterations even during your design. So you must not always follow what you've come up with in your wireframe when you are finally designing. So on these other flows also, we can also create different wireframes on these different flows. So as you are creating, you are now gradually getting the flow. So you know that from this place, this is going to be our home page. So you create a wireframe for this home page, and then they click on this, on the order. What do they get to see first? They can see this, they can see this, they can see this. So whichever, even on this first, before they even get to this sales category, there could be a page first of all where it gives them the option of, you can pick whether you want to see your sales history, or you want to see trends, or you want to see demand forecast, or you just want to go straight into ordering your products peacefully. Or even on this same page, you can have different categories where we have it here. You can have on this first one, this is your sales history. On the second one, this is your trends. This will be your sales history. On the second one, this will be your trends. And the third one is going to be your forecast. So you can have it categorized like this. And then maybe just below it, you can now have place order. So however you want to create your wireframes, it just boils down to how you want to, place your different information so that your users will be able to better understand what you're trying to design. So now that we've gotten a hand of the wireframes, I believe that we can now create simple wireframes. So the same way we are creating for the digital way is also the same way we are also going to create for paper. That's if you want to use paper. So you just get your paper and then you draw your frame. You just draw a box to signify that this is a frame, a bigger box. So when you draw your box and then you start placing in your different items in your box. So it's also the same method of doing it for paper prototype. But we'll focus on this because we are online. So I believe we've actually got a hand, like a basic understanding of what wireframing is. Do you have any questions? Well, actually, let's hear from you.
Okay. Good evening, ma.
Yeah, good evening.
My question is about the wireframes. Like you said, in showing that a text is supposed to be in a particular place on the screen, you make use of lines. But I've seen in a situation whereby someone posted about like a wireframe, but the person used a normal text on it. So I want to ask, are we like, is it you can use line and you can also use text while doing wireframe? Like, is it possible, or is just the line that you have to use while doing your wireframes?
So,
Did you get my
um,
question?
yeah, I got your question. So I kind of mentioned this. I said um we could use text and we could use lines. So the examples I gave here, I'm trying to look for.
Okay.
So the examples I gave here, so you can see on this particular screen, you can see that there are parts where I actually use text, and you can see here I used a line on this place. So you could use text if you're not sure actually what you want to put on that section. But if you are very sure that this is what you want to use, you can now use text to denote the thing you want to actually write.
Okay.
Do you get this? So you can use both lines. If
Yes,
you're
I
still
do.
trying to figure it out, like instead of you to spend more time figuring what you want to write, you can just use your line. But if you've known already, you can actually put the main text there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Um, Titi Lope.
Good afternoon, ma.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, ma. Sorry. Please, what's the difference between user flow and user story?
User stories. User story is entirely different, but it's still all of them are still serving the same um it's still serving the same purpose of trying to define the experience of the user. So by user flow, so this flow charts can also so this flow chart can also show a user flow. So you can so this flow chart is starting from this very first one, is going to the next experience, going to the next experience, and next like that. So this is showing a user flow. But user stories, so user stories is a text like um there are different. Okay, let's try to create user stories from this flow chart we have. Let's try to create user stories. So user stories is what do you want them to achieve? Where is my text icon? What do you want them to achieve as a user? So let's say as a restaurant owner, we are going to create very simple user stories from this our flowchart. So as a restaurant owner, I want to be able to I want to be able to I want to be able to order for food items from my app. This is one this is one example of a user story. So another example can be as a restaurant owner. I want to be able to get I want to be able to get I okay, I want to be able to see most popular sold or most popular sold items around me, or most popular sold food items. If I'm speaking this English, sure. Most popular sold food items around me. So this is like also user story. So you can see on this flow chart, this first one, I want to be able to order food items from my app is being captured in this particular flow. So you could go from user stories to user flow, that's flow chart, or can you go like this? Or you could, it's most times you could go from user stories to your flow charts, or you could go from this to this. But I think it's always the process is going from these user stories. So these user stories can be gotten from the empathy map, the way I explained that what a user says. So from what they say, you can now try to create some different user stories, like what they need from this application. So from these user stories, you can now create a flow on how you're actually going to help them to achieve these needs.
Okay, thank you, ma.
You're welcome. Do we have any other question? Um, Paula, your hand raised. The topic for today, we are talking about wireframe, both paper wireframe and digital wireframes. So site mapping is still they are still the same. They are still the same. They are still trying to solve the same process of trying to the like they still have the same goal of trying to categorize the information that you are showing from the very first hierarchy to the very last one. So it's still the same. It's still this. I think they're not the same thing, but they are called different names. The information this IA can be done by just text. You don't have to draw it like this way I drew it now. This particular way I drew it. This same way I do it, you could just write it as a text, and then it's going to be like a it's going to be like a IA. But for site mapping, you can still it's still the same method of it's still the same. You can even use a tabular form for like either way, but it's still serving the purpose of you want to kind of based on hierarchy of how we are going to organize your content or your information. with using IA. So your IA can just be you're just trying to organize your content. But the sitemap, like the way we have sitemap, the way we have this I think I showed, was it Flutter Wave? I showed. So you can see on this place now, from this to this, these are like different structure that you want to use for your different pages. So the sitemap is based on pages pretty much. You can see sites like website map. So it's based on the different pages, but you see the same how you want to organize your contents. But the sitemap is just based on the different pages. The first page that will appear before the next page, before the next page. So it's still the same hierarchy, creating a content structure, how you want to structure your content from the very first level to the very last level. But then it's now showing like relationship with between different web pages that you have. That's for site mapping. So you can see on, for example, now if you have your profile page, or should I say, like for example, let me try to, I'm trying to see if, so you know it's very possible that when you want to access a particular page, for example, when you want to access a particular page, and then it's possible that, say for example now, let's say this is our contact page. This is our contact page, and then here you have your home page. On this home page, no, the top is the home page. The first one we have your overview, and let's say home. On this one, let's say you have your career page, and here you have your product page. So on these products, so let's just say we just have a contact page. So it's very possible that on this contact page, you can still access your, from this home page, you can still access your contacts page. And from this same home page, you can, from this product page, you can still also access your contact page. So your site mapping is just like showing the relationship between different web pages you have. It's showing that from this contact page, you can still get this contact page even from your home page and even from your product page. So you mustn't always have to go through only home page to get to your contact page. So it's just basically showing the relationship in between the different pages you have on your website. Are there any other questions? The link for what? Abi, is it the, okay, maybe it's that. Okay. So do you have any other questions? The people that have raised their hands, if you've spoken, you can raise your hand down. Let me know people that will want to speak. Paula, do you want to say something?
Yes, I want to ask a question, please.
Okay.
And please, under what level of design thinking does this wireframe fall under?
The prototype level. Did you get that?
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Okay. Trauma. If you ask a question, you can lower your hand so that
Okay,
I could know. Yeah.
I want to ask, is journey map also the same as user flow?
No, they're not entirely the same. So the journey map, you see, journey map, user journey map, yeah, journey map. So the journey map is just so the journey map is the goal of journey map is to show the different feelings of users. Like I have an example of journey map, but not relating to what we have for today. Maybe if you guys could if I can even see it, permits me to show. So the idea of journey map is just to show the different feelings, like how the user feel. So you see trying to, so it falls under the empathize phase, where you are trying to put yourself in user shoes, and then you now want to think about how they feel at the different stages in their journey map, in their flow, while before they start interacting with the app. So when they start interacting with the app, after they are done interacting with the app. So the I think the best way is, I don't know why I cannot find this thing. Where is it? Is it here? Let me see if I can explain better with an example. So this is like a journey map. So it's basically showing the different experiences, like the different feelings of your user. So you can see on this part, you can see here is worried, it's showing anxious, here is showing curious, happy, here is showing tense, here is now showing that the user is now relieved. So the idea of the journey mapping is just to get the feelings, how they are feeling at different stages in their journey, from the very first stage to the last stage. So I think this journey map was for an application, for a fintech application. So you can see this very first stage. It starts from their thoughts. So it's categorized into thoughts, their pain points, sentiments, and the opportunities. So you can see even this is kind of relating to empathy map. So these thoughts could be what they are thinking, or just like the way we have the empathy map, the think, the does, the says, and the does. So on this part, it will be what they are thinking. So we are trying to, from that thinking, from the thinking part of the empathy map, we now categorize into different stages, from when they are very low to when they are very happy, to when they've actually gotten what they want. So you can see on this first one, they say by starting and completing a saving plan is always very difficult. So this is the for an agile app that we are trying to design, for example. So we want to design an agile app. So by agile, I mean like it's a saving plan where we have and people will be able to contribute on a daily or weekly basis, and then they get all their contribution maybe by the end of the year, for example. And then you could hear someone saying that it's very difficult for me to actually create a plan. So you can see at this point, they are worried, they are less motivated to start saving because of they are their fear of consistency. So this is their pain point at this particular stage. And on this stage, they're actually worried. You can see the sentiments here showing that they are worried. So when you are done deducing this particular stage, you can now look for an opportunity based on this pain point. So this journey map is also focusing on understanding the users, but also generating ideas from this pain point. So you've gotten their pain points, and then you can now say, okay, based on these ideas, we can now gamify this app, or we can make this app to be very flashy, so that once they come to the app, they'll be so motivated to actually start saving. Or another way we can also do this is that we want to make them to be consistent in their saving. And one way to make them to be consistent is by locking their savings. So once they start saving, you cannot withdraw your money, just like the way piggyvest does it. If you want to withdraw your savings, you must pay, I think, a particular percentage. So these are different opportunities that you found out that you've created based on these their pain points. So on this second stage now that they've moved to, okay, how secured is my money after locking it in an app? So they found an app. First of all, their worry was to even start saving in this first place. So they found an app, but people are always very skeptical about putting their money in different apps. So from this particular place, this is also a pain point. So they are anxious on this stage because, I mean, we can wake up tomorrow morning, I can get that piggyverse has shut down. It could happen. And then we want to assure the user that your money is safe with us, even when you want to invest in us, that we are not forced out. So that fear of online money fraud and loss of all savings. So you can create opportunities from these their pain points. And what I've created is the payment channel. I don't even know why. An in-app wallet and track savings. So one way of also making sure that my money is safe is that I want to be able to track my savings. I want to be seeing it in my app that, okay, this is how it's increased. I don't want to just be saying that, be hearing that it's there's going to be an interest. I want to be seeing how much interest I'm having from the app. It's kind of going to keep me at rest, that at least my money is safe. So on this next page, on this next stage, that they have seen the app that they want to use. So at least I am able to track my money, so that now, okay, that okay, from so this is like the next stage that they've gotten into, from the point of how am I sure that my money is being secure, to the point of, okay, at least I'm being able to track my money on this application from my home. And after completing the saving plan, how easy is this? How easy is the withdrawal? So they're no longer worried from the fact that they can now save or they can now lock their money. They're not worried in how can I even withdraw my money so easily when I need it. So this is also another stage that we've also found. And the final stage is always a happy ending in your journey map. So it starts from a very frustrated stage to a happy ending. So it doesn't matter how many stages you have, but as long as it ends with happy ending, that's the end of your journey map. So you can see on this final part, it's saying finally I get all my saving into my account with extra income. So you could also find opportunities even on this particular stage. So that is what journey map is. Do you have difference between two different things? I think you asked difference between two different things. I mean, who asked that question?
It was me, ma. But yes, I've gotten it. Thank you. I've understood now.
Okay. All right. Munachi, you want to say something?
Yes, ma'am. I have a question.
Okay.
Please, ma'am, what's the meaning of design infography?
Design what?
Infography.
Can you spell the
Info, then graphic.
infographic?
Yes.
Is it relating to UI UX? Or it's
I
just
think so. I'm not really sure actually, but I don't know.
just like the name goes, infographics. It could be like using graphics to represent your information. So just like the way we are trying to create wireframes, for example, you are using your graphics to represent the ideas that you have. Like we've generated different ideas, and then from this idea, like your idea could be sales history. So using a graphics to now represent this your idea, it could be the meaning of it. I don't know.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah. So I believe those are all the questions that we have. So in the absence of no questions, it will lead us to our assignments. So I have an assignment for you guys. So first of all, this is my 6th week. And in the next 2 weeks, we are going to call it a wrap for my end. So and by the next 2 weeks, this my today assignment, you guys are going to come back and present it. That's on the 15th and on the 16th. So the assignment is going to be on your user research and what you've each group answered different questions during your user research phase, and it's going to start from there. So from those questions that you've answered, you are going to follow the same process that we followed, or if you want to be kind of innovative, to follow any design process you want to follow, you can also follow it. So from a research question, you create a problem statement or statements depending on what you are trying to solve. So you create a problem statement, and then you go straight into creating your persona. And from a persona, you create your empathy map. And from your empathy map, you start ideating. Where is that my last? You start ideating. From a persona, you go to empathy map, then you go to your ideation phase. That's how might we. So when you are done ideating, you can now pick the ideas you want to work on, and then you create wireframes on it. That this wireframe is by this what you just showed today in class. Wireframes on it using any tool you want to use. You could use Mirror, you could use your FigJam, or you could even use Figma. Whatever you want to use, then you create your wireframes. And when you are done creating wireframes, you now create your final design. That is your high fidelity design. So in the next 2 weeks, I want each group to, it doesn't have to be lots of design. You can just create a particular flow. Say, I want people to be able to order something from this app. And that flow can just be 5 screens. I'm not concerned about the amount of your screens that each group is going to bring. I'm much concerned about the flow from the very first start to the last phase. So I want you guys to come and tell me a story, how you started from your research stories, from your research questions, into what you deduce that is a problem by creating a problem statement, and then you move into creating persona, and then you move into the next phase, trying to empathize with your users, and then you move into ideation. And from this ideation, you want to now design just this particular idea. You could just pick only one idea and you design it. So I'm not going to come back to repeat this assignment. Maybe the course rep can get what I'm saying and send it to you guys in your general channel. So by next 2 weeks, I want each group to come and present what you have been able to come up with. And it's going to be on the 15th and on the 16th. And that is going to be my last session with you guys. So on the 15th, since we have 11 groups, so I'm going to separate it. So on the 15th, the even number groups are going to present. That's even, I mean 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So if you know that your group number is even, just know that you are going to present on Friday, that's the 15th of November. Then for the odd number groups, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, they are going to present on the 16th for the odd number groups. So I really don't want to come on that day and I'll be hearing my laptop is low, there is no light, what other excuse. So I just want you guys to prepare as well as you can. And it does not have to be final screen, like I said. You don't have to come and present 10 screens for me. It could just be 5 and just show me your process. I want to see your process, how you're able to come up with these designs based on your research questions. Did you guys understand the assignment?
Yes, ma.
Okay,
No,
so the
ma.
course rep, is the course rep here? Is the
Yes,
course
ma'am.
did you get the assignment so you could
No, no,
um
I did not.
wow. So who got everything I said? Who got everything I said? Monachi.
Yes, ma, I did.
Okay. So can you help me to write all the stuff I said, like the whole assignment? Because I'm sure some people's network will not allow them to have gotten everything. So can you help me to just write this assignment and then post it in your general group chats on Telegram? So every other person can get this assignment.
Okay, ma.
All right, thank you. So just like you guys requested for the company, so tomorrow we are going to go through that again. So in the absence of no other questions or comments, I believe we could call this the end of the class. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Good night, ma. Thank you.
Yeah, let's
Good
stop
night.
recording.
Good night, my